we know PBC has got a monster schedule, killer schedule that I'm looking forward to, and I'm sure most of you are looking forward to. Now, on October 24th, one fight that I'm really looking forward to that I think is going to be a sleeper, could be one of the best fights in the whole schedule in terms of entertainment value, and that's Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. Now, this is a very odd matchup because Gervonta Davis is fighting a smaller guy at 130. And Gervonta Davis has been recently campaigning at 135. But here's the kicker. Both titles are on the line. Gervonta Davis's 135-pound title and Leo Santa Cruz's 130-pound title. They're both on the line. And the fight's going to be at 130 instead of 135. Now, everybody knows Tank's problems making 130. He struggles to make 135 as well. Last fight against Yuriorkis Gamboa, just could not make the weight. What's up, Dwayne? How you doing? What's up, G-Funk? He just could not make the weight. So no matter what weight that the fight is listed at, it seems that Tank, for whatever reason, is going to be 2 or 3 pounds over come the weigh-in. Leo Santa Cruz, always on point, never had a problem making weight, probably one of the best conditioned boxers in the game today. So whoever made this fight, whoever Al Heyman, who manages Gervonta Davis, by setting this fight up to be at 130 and have both titles on the line, the 135 and the 130-pound title on the line, they're not doing Tank any justice there. So that's, in my opinion, that's bad management. But nevertheless, the fight's going to be at 130. Both titles are on the line. It is what it is. So let's talk about both guys. Now, Santa Cruz, early in his career, was thought to just be a swarmer, not really a boxer type, a guy that just blankets his opponents with pressure, not afraid to take, 1 or 2 to give 3 or 4 back. So the knock on him was he wasn't a great defensive fighter, and he just was aggressive, threw all caution into the wind. And as soon as he steps in there with a boxer, he's going to get outboxed. Now, he did get outboxed by Carl Frampton, but he had some stuff going on. It was still a close competitive fight. Gotta turn this thing off. I'm so sorry. Hold on for 1 second. Let me turn this thing off so we don't get disturbed again. Thought I had it on airplane mode. Apologize for that interruption. So yeah, so Santa Cruz was thought to just be like an aggressive, come forward type fighter, a swarmer, and his boxing ability was very underrated. Now, he fought Frampton's fight, fought an up close battle with Frampton, and Frampton was able to outbox him at close distance. Same thing with Mares. Although he won the first fight with Mares, he fought Mares' fight for a great portion of that fight, and the fight was closer than it really had to be, which warranted a rematch. Now, in both rematches, the one against Frampton and the one against Mares, Santa Cruz showed us a different wrinkle. He boxed from the outside. He worked off his jab, threw feints. And even though he was still aggressive, this is a guy that throws 1,000 punches around, but he was using the jab in overtime, okay? And wasn't looking for the home run. Because a lot of times he would go in there and really try to go to war with guys up close on the inside. But again, he showed us a wrinkle where he could box, be patient, show poise, and uses his length and his reach, because he's a pretty big guy, big, long and tall guy, about 5'8". He's a tall, lanky guy for that division. So he's a good size for that division. So why not use your size when you're fighting smaller guys like Frampton and Mares? And Mares is like 5'5". Frampton's like 5'5" as well, like 5'5.5". So why would you not use the 3-inch height and reach advantage, which he did do in both rematches? So he showed us a different wrinkle. Now, Tank, on the other hand, when you give him the eye test, he's very explosive. He's got a decent jab. He knows how to set up punches as well. He's very accurate with his punches. He can counter punch a little bit as well. He can suck you into traps. He can suck you into that left hand. You know, he's a little bit crafty. But the problem with Tank is he's a mid-range guy. He's not really a guy that works on the inside. A lot of times he'll go to the ropes, lay there, and take breaks. And because of that, his opponent can throw punches even though they're not landing clean. It could give the judges the impression that the opponent's doing more and Tank's taking the break. So he could just lose the round because of lack of activity. And he's given early rounds away to lesser opponents because of that. And his big money punch is the straight left, but he also has a very, very sharp right hook. So he's got power in both hands. He's explosive in both hands. But again, he's more of a mid-range guy. He doesn't like to work on the inside. And because he's short and doesn't have long arms, he's not a very effective long-range fighter. Santa Cruz can fight well on the inside and on the outside, and pretty decent in the mid-range area as well. But I think he's better from the outside and he's better up close. So he's going to have to stay out of the mid-range if he does fight Tank Davis in close quarters. He's got to either go all the way in or he's got to be all the way out, sort of like Marquez and Pacquiao, because Pacquiao was another mid-range guy. What did Marquez do? He would go in and smother Manny Pacquiao, and he would go out, make Manny Pacquiao follow him out, and he would counter. Santa Cruz has to employ the same style here because he's quick. Tank's pretty quick too, but you may argue that, and you could argue that, Santa Cruz may be a touch faster, or maybe even more than a touch faster. And not only that, Santa Cruz is not going to allow Tank to take breaks. So when Tank's not punching, Santa Cruz is going to punch. Tank decides to go to the ropes, Santa Cruz is going to not let him off the hook. He's going to work. And he's not like the lesser opponents that Tank has faced, which allowed Tank to be able to take those breaks because they didn't have a ton of firepower. Santa Cruz is a decent puncher. Not a one-punch knockout guy, but he can hurt you to the body, and he can throw short, sharp, crisp hooks on the inside. He knows how to shorten those punches up without looping them too much. So he's not going to be telegraphing up close. So I think Santa Cruz has a little bit bigger toolbox that he's going to bring to the job on October 24th. I think he can do a little bit more things. The only thing I think he really is going to be at a disadvantage at here is power. So because Tank in his last fight against Gamboa, and even other fights as well, before that fight, I think Tank hasn't been past 8 rounds. That was the first time Tank entered the 12th round, and he got a 12th round TKO, and he did knock Gamboa down about 3 times in that fight. But let's make no mistake about it. This was a 38 version of Gamboa. This was a Gamboa that actually tore his Achilles tendon during the fight, and Tank still really couldn't get him out of there early. It took him 12 rounds to do it, and Gamboa was even showing flashes of the old Gamboa. Be that as it may, they were far and few between. There weren't enough of those flashes, but he's not supposed to look like the old Gamboa against a young guy like Tank Davis, a champion like Tank Davis, who's on the top of his game. So even though Tank won that fight handily, it's one of those fights where, yeah, he was piling up the points, got the knockdowns, but in some of those rounds, he looked human. And he's not supposed to look human against a faded version of Gamboa. So that raised a lot of eyebrows, raised my eyebrows in that fight. So if you can't get that guy out of there, and if you were getting tired in that fight, if your output, I'm not a big punch stat guy, but sometimes the punch stats, when you watch the fight, they are a pretty good indication and a good reflection of how the fight did go. Sometimes I do agree with the punch stats. I don't live and die by them. I don't think they're a real relevant stat most of the time. But in certain instances, when I do look at them, I can agree with them. You know, they're not totally useless, in my opinion. When you factor in the margin of error, and sometimes it's not like they really miss the amount of punches thrown. I think the biggest error they make is the ones that lands. And I'm not a big fan of a power punch being anything other thrown other than a jab, because some jabs are hotter than right hands. So in that regard, punch stats can be flawed. But the way I'm going to apply the punch stats here, I think, is definitely applicable to this fight, and I'll explain why. Santa Cruz, by the punch stat numbers, throws about 1,000 punches a fight, and he's landing at about 35, 36%. Tank in his last fight only threw 321 punches. Now, he landed 37% of them, and a lot of them were quality. So Tank is an accurate guy. He's, he lands solid blows, and he lands those types of punches that can just turn the fight on a dime. So that to his credit, he doesn't have to be a volume guy because he's very accurate and he's heavy-handed. But if you're a lightweight, you should not be throwing less punches than a heavyweight. So when I watch both, Santa Cruz fight, I know he's putting out some serious volume and landing at a pretty good percentage. When I watch Tank Davis, he's not throwing a ton of punches. He's just not. And that's why he can give rounds away just on the sheer fact that he's not doing much. And if he doesn't land a big punch in those rounds and he doesn't hurt the guy in those rounds, then he runs the risk of being outworked. So Santa Cruz, in my opinion, is the best fighter that Tank Davis has ever faced in terms of skill. Now, you can argue that Gervonta Davis is going to be the most dangerous fighter that Santa Cruz has faced, but he's faced a lot of top-level guys. Mares, Kiko Martinez, Frampton. He's fought some pretty solid guys. And in his rematches, he made adjustments, and he looked better in the rematches, and he showed us a different style in both rematches with Frampton and Mares. Tank's fought the same way his whole career. He's had weight problems his whole career. And now, after having problems making 135, he's going back down to 130, which was, like I said, I'm going to reiterate, this is a horrible move if you're his handlers and you're managing Tank Davis. I think it's foolish, and it's ridiculous that they would allow this fight to take place at 130 pounds. I just don't see the logic in that. And then have both titles on the line, the 135-pound title and the 130-pound title. That is mind-boggling to me, whoever set this fight up and was representing Tank Davis. So the odds for this fight, Santa Cruz is a plus 275. Gervonta Davis is a minus 365. So Santa Cruz is about a 3-1 underdog. He's about a 3-1 underdog. So how's this fight going to play out? Well, like I said, Tank didn't look great against Gamboa. And that sounds ridiculous for me to say that when you look at the fact that he dominated the fight and probably lost maybe one round the whole fight, but he got tired. He looked frustrated at certain points. He was trying to land a big shot. He was trying to conserve a lot of energy. He was going to the ropes taking breaks. And Gamboa frustrated him in certain rounds. And there were a lot of rounds that Tank just nicked him and just barely did enough to win him. And then the rounds that he knocked him down, obviously those are going to be 10-8 rounds, so that the scorecards are going to look lopsided because of that. And then he stopped him in the 12th. But this was a wounded animal. This was a guy with a torn Achilles tendon that was well past his prime, that hasn't looked great in a long time, with all due respect. Gamboa, phenomenal fighter, but he's seen his better days. Okay? He's not supposed to enter the 12th round against Tank Davis. It's not supposed to go that long, especially being injured. Okay? He was limping the whole fight, and Tank still couldn't get him out of there. And Tank was huffing and puffing all the way. Santa Cruz is a machine. He's a versatile fighter. And he's shown that he's a better boxer than people have given him credit for. Not a lot of excessive movement, but he's really good at gauging distance. He's really good at gauging distance and setting up the shots. Not every shot has to be a bomb. Not every shot has to be a bomb. He's content on just touch, then throwing a hard shot. Touch, then throwing a hard shot. Tank, a lot of times, he's just looking for the one big shot sometimes. He's just relaxing, trying to suck you into a trap, trying to get you to walk into that left hand a lot of times. Santa Cruz is not going to walk into that left hand. He's just too smart. He's just too smart. Santa Cruz is going to, like I said, he's going to be able to box well on the outside area. He's going to keep a very busy jab in Tank's face, regardless if he lands it or not. He's going to keep touching Tank and keep forcing Tank to have to bat that jab down. And when Tank is batting that jab down, guess what? He's not able to get set and throw punches. So Santa Cruz is going to just keep touch, and just keep forcing Tank to have to react to that jab. And by doing that, Tank's not going to be able to get the power shots off. And then there's going to be times when Santa Cruz is going to get close. And he's going to hang on that right arm and keep his head off to the side of Tank Davis's right shoulder, away from the left hand, because Tank sometimes can throw that little short uppercut too as well. So Santa Cruz is going to have that head off to the right, off of Tank Davis's right shoulder. He's going to have it off, to the Tank Davis's right shoulder. He's going to be out of the way out of line of fire of that left hand, and he's going to smother Tank. And then when Tank takes those breaks out on the ropes, Santa Cruz is going to be working. And Santa Cruz is going to try his very best to throw 1,000 punches. If he falls short, he's going to probably throw at least 900, 850. This guy just is an Energizer bunny. He doesn't stop working. And once he's inside, he mixes up the shots. He knows how to go to the body. And he's like a buzzsaw. He's a grinder on the inside. Tank Davis is not. So Tank Davis is in a situation like Deontay Wilder, probably not to the degree of Deontay Wilder, because I would say he's more skilled than Deontay Wilder. He's a better counterpuncher. It's better throwing feints, and he's really good at hooking off his jab, and he's got power in both hands, not just in one. But the thing is this: Tank is going to be outgunned in terms of volume in this fight, so he's got to be close to perfect with his punches, because he may not get a lot of opportunities. If he's smothered on the inside, he won't be able to throw punches. If he's being peppered on the outside with a jab, he's going to have a hard time getting set and get in a position to get in the mid-range where he could throw that powerful right hook and that mid-range straight left that he likes to throw, and that mid-range little left uppercut that he likes to throw. So Santa Cruz is smart enough to know that I'm not going to stay in the mid-range with this guy. I'm going to either smother him or I'm going to find him on the outside. And when I'm on the inside, I'm going to keep moving my hands, because I know he's not. So if he's not moving his hands and I am, guess what? I'm winning rounds. Am I hurting him? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm winning rounds. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to win rounds. Tank's there to get a knockout. Because if he don't knock out the smaller guy, people are going to be like, what's going on here? Can't knock out Leo Santa Cruz, who's the guy who's smaller than you? So the way I see this fight going, and before I close out here with the prediction, I have a feeling that Tank's going to be overweight, maybe 132, 133. But he's going to probably make an effort to make 130. And because he made that effort to make 130, that's going to be to his detriment, because he's going to have drained himself to some degree. And even coming in at 132, 133, he'll probably even still be drained at that weight when he steps on the scales. So Tank's going to be, he's going to be drained. All right. He's going to be drained, but the fight will still go on. I think Santa Cruz will probably get paid some money, and they'll allow the fight to go on. But everyone's saying, oh, well, what if Tank just blows up the night of the fight? Again, that's not always a great thing, because if you're totally depleted, and then all of a sudden in 24 to 36 hours, you're trying to replenish all those nutrients and all those electrolytes. It's one thing when us, like if we're dehydrated or something, or if we don't eat for a couple hours and we go out and work out and we're famished or whatever, but we're not trying to lose 15, 20 pounds, 25 pounds, 30 pounds in 6 to 8 weeks. And then come fight time, when we're over 8 to 10 pounds the week of the fight, then we got to get, we're not losing 10 pounds in 5 days. That's total depletion. So to think that he's going to be able to rehydrate and replenish all those nutrients, to get all those electrolytes back and be effective come fight night. So what if he weighs 150 pounds come fight night? No one feels good when they put on that much weight. It's like this. You don't eat a whole day, right? And then you go home at night and you binge. What happens? You go into a food coma because you smashed your body with so much calories at one time. Well, you're tired. You want to go lay down. You don't want to go out and work out. You don't want to go run. You don't want to go walk. You don't want to do anything. So when a fighter does the same thing, what do you think happens to him? You're going from one extreme to the other in such a short period of time, 36 hours. That is not advantageous to a fighter, in my opinion. And that's why Tank, even when he rehydrates, still looks sluggish the night of the fight and has such a low output, because he doesn't have enough time, and he's shocking his body so much. He doesn't have enough time to bring his body back to homeostasis, which is normalcy. He can't do that. It usually takes about 3 to 4 days to get back to normal after you're seriously dehydrated and depleted and in a state like that physically. This whole perception that you can get it back in 24 to 36 hours, that's bullshit. From a biological standpoint, you can't. It's ridiculous. So that's a caveat, guys. Whether he even if he steps on the scale 132, 133, that's still going to be a depleted 132, 133, because he couldn't even make 135. It's like 136 and a half, 137. So this is ridiculous. And even if he was allowed, even if this fight was at 135, still, he has trouble making 135. And the style of Leo Santa Cruz, and if he fights the game plan that I think he's going to fight, still going to present a ton of problems for Tank. So now that I got that out of the way, let's get to the finish here. Who's going to win this fight? Well, I got a big surprise for you. I'm taking Leo Santa Cruz with the upset here, 12-round decision, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I got a 44 Magnum, okay, going up against a Mac 10. Okay? That 44 Magnum's got a big kick, which is Tank Davis. But guess what? Shooting one shot at a time, there's a kickback. Or that Mac 10, I can just spray. Every bullet may not land, but some of them are going to land. And if we want to play a numbers game, more of those shots from the Mac 10 are going to land than that Magnum 45. And that's what we have here. We have a Mac 10 going up against a Magnum 45. I'm taking the Mac 10. Santa Cruz throws 1,000 punches a fight. Tank throws about 350, 400. Both land at a similar percentage. What are the judges going to look at here? Santa Cruz is hard to hit clean. He rolls shots beautifully. Okay? He moves his head well on the inside. He positions his head properly. He's another guy that understands how to fight on the inside. Body positioning, head outside the shoulder, off to the side, digging up and underneath the elbow, staying out of center line, turning the guy, but not giving up ground, and move your hands. And if you're not going to move your hands, then you lean on the guy and you wrap up the arms and you still keep your head off the side. Santa Cruz understands all that. Tank just lays there on the inside, just takes breaks. So he's going to lose that inside battle. On the outside, when Tank's looking at trying to edge his way into the mid-range, looking to set up that left hand, looking to set up that right hook off the jab, trying to get in that mid-range area, land the perfect shot, because he doesn't want to expend too much energy, because he's not a volume guy, and he will probably have had problems making weight. So that's even more the reason to conserve energy. But that's just his style anyways. He's not a volume guy anyways. He's a counter puncher. He's a guy that likes to suck you into traps. Santa Cruz ain't falling for those traps. He ain't buying it. You can try to sell him the traps. Santa Cruz ain't going to buy those traps. So Santa Cruz, I think, is going to win this fight by staying on the outside, peppering him with the jab, just landing, 1-2s. And then when he gets on the inside, he's going to be a buzzsaw and he's going to work and outwork Tank. So I think Santa Cruz is going to win a 12-round unanimous decision because I think he's going to have the advantage on the outside. He's going to have the advantages on the inside, and he's got to stay out of that mid-range as much as possible because that's Tank's sweet spot. That's the danger zone. If he could stay out of the danger zone long enough to not take any serious damage, which I believe he can, Leo Santa Cruz is going to score a big, big upset in this fight. 12-round unanimous decision. Leo Santa Cruz. This is what I like to call a value bet. Okay? This is a value bet. And I feel very confident in taking Santa Cruz with the plus 275. And if you're like me and you like Santa Cruz, you may want to bet this fight early. Because again, Santa Cruz got a lot of fans. Okay? And after the weigh-in, when Tank steps on the scale, and he's over, and he looks like death warmed over, with all due respect. I'm not, I don't wish anything bad on anyone, but when he looks like death warmed over on October 23rd, when they're weighing in for this fight, there's going to be a lot of late money on Santa Cruz. And this may be, I'm not going to say he won't be the underdog, but you may not get the plus 275. You may get a plus 150, plus 130. This fight is going to be bet down, in my opinion. I think a lot of late money is going to go on Santa Cruz. So I'm taking Santa Cruz because I think he's going to outwork Tank. I think he's going to stay out of the mid-range. I think he's going to be busy on the inside when Tank is not. Santa Cruz is going to be punching when Tank is not, and he's going to be winning rounds that way. He's going to be the busier guy, and because of that, he is going to win this fight by 12-round unanimous decision. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. Beating the odds with Beeb is out. And I can't wait for this fight, man. I can't wait for this fight. This fight's going to be a sleeper. And anytime you can get 3-1 odds, usually when there's a 3-1 type fight, 2.5 to 1 type fight, that means in a lot of instances and situations, the underdog's usually live in those situations. So I think Santa Cruz is definitely live here. He's definitely live here. And I feel confident in picking Leo Santa Cruz. All right, guys, thank you so much. Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. And talk to y'all soon. Peace out, guys.